Knits podcast. This is a podcast mostly about knitting, sometimes crocheting, but always about all of the yarny goodness that I love. Today is Friday, January 5th, 2024. Happy New Year to all of you. I am so happy to be back with my first podcast for 2024. A big hello to any returning viewers and new viewers. I'm so glad that you are stopping by and so thankful that you want to hear about what I have been up to. So thank you so much. Besides YouTube, you can find me other places, Instagram and Ravelry as cbcraftygirl. And all of the things I talk about, links to where you can find me, show notes can be found in the description box down below. So it is January. Where has the time went? I recorded one podcast in December, and I had really hoped that I would get another one in. But guys, December is a hard month. Does anybody else feel that way? There are just so many things going on. I think, in addition to, everything we have to do throughout the rest of the year, whether it be our jobs, keeping your house, laundry, cooking, all of that stuff. In December, we pile on, many wonderful activities and, shopping for food, Christmas cookie baking, presents, wrapping presents, if you send out Christmas cards, all of that. So you add all of that in, and December is just, I found it to be quite stressful this year. So I was thankful that I got one podcast out in December, but I'm really happy to be back with you in the new year. I have lots to talk about today. I have some finished objects. I have some works in progress, and I have lots of new yarny acquisitions, some that I purchased and some that were Christmas gifts, some that are not necessarily yarn, but knitting themed things that family members gave me. So I'm excited to share all of those things with you. Before we get into the episode, I just want to announce some final winners from the make-alongs that we had going on in the Carla Knits podcast group. So we do have a podcast group on Ravelry. We had 2 year-long make-alongs going on last year, and they have come to a close. So the first, looking in my notes here, let's see, we had a year-long blanket make-along going on, and this was to start blankets, finish blankets, work on blankets that maybe, had been put aside for years, just any work on blankets. So it has been really fun seeing all of the beautiful blankets that you have been working on, that you have finished. Very inspiring. I didn't get quite as much work done on blankets as I would have liked, but I know in the first part of 2023, I did like the 30 minutes a day on my Cozy Memories blanket, and I did add, a significant number of squares, I thought. So that was good. Yeah, so there are some other blanket projects that I will share in future podcasts that I would like to work on. But all of you did really great. So thank you to those of you who participated. So for the year-long make-along, I drew a prize for after 6 months. And so then this is the last half of the year. So I have one person to draw. And I did this yesterday. Or the day before. No, I think it was yesterday, and I closed the threads for the make-alongs. But this is in the blanket make-along. The posts were 168 through 318. So that was the first post in July through the last post. So 168 through 318, and it chose 236, and that is Ravelry's Ravelry user, Jasmine Davila 1. So congratulations, Jasmine. I will insert a photo here of the beautiful blanket she crocheted. I absolutely love your blanket. So you win a Ravelry pattern prize up to $10. So if you would like to reach out to me through Ravelry message and tell me the pattern that you would like, I will gift that to you. The other make along we had going on was the Love Your Stash make along. How have you all done using your stash? I'm just wondering about that. So many beautiful finished objects were posted and lots of chattering going on. So the first thread I pulled from was the chatter thread, and this I drew quarterly for this make along, and so this is October through when I closed yesterday. So it was post 296 through 338, and random number generator selected 334, who is LMECOLL. That's Linda. So congratulations, Linda, to you. And again, reach out to me through Ravelry message with a pattern prize up to $10, and I will gift that to you. And then from the finished object thread for the Love Your Stash make along, so going October through when I closed yesterday, posts were 627 through 862, and random number generator selected post 628. And it's Ravelry user I Now Hour, and I believe your name is Kim, and congratulations to you. A beautiful sweater, which I will post a picture of here for you guys to see, and Kim has many posts in the group, so lots of beautiful finished objects. So congratulations, ladies. If you all can get in touch with me through Ravelry message with your choice of your pattern up to $10 US, I will gift that to you. Thank you so much to all of you who participated in those make-alongs. I hope that you enjoyed participating, enjoyed all of the beautiful things that you were able to work on and finish. I know it was a lot of fun seeing all of your beautiful makes. So thank you so much for participating in that. All right, let's get into some knitting and, knitting today, I think. Oh, knitting and crocheting. I'll start out with what I am wearing. This is the Willa, I think it's supposed to be Willa Tee, so W-I-L-L-A, by This.Bird.Knits. So it is designed as a summer tee, but I made it into long sleeves. It was definitely too warm to wear it as a summer top or even a spring top, but in the fall and winter, it is perfect. The yarn, I do not remember the yarn I used, but it will be in the show notes down below. But it was a beautiful green yarn that I had seen another podcaster make a sweater out of. I absolutely loved the color, and so I ordered this yarn from Maker and Stitch. Gosh, I'm really drawing a blank as to what it is. So again, it will be in the show notes down below, but that is what I'm wearing. Let's see, let's get into some finished objects. So, because I only recorded one podcast in December, I did have a couple of gift finishes, and I actually did record a short video in December of some gift items that I finished. And so I am going to insert that footage here so you can see those items, and I will be back in a little bit. Hi, it's Monday morning, December 11th, and I have a couple of gift projects that I need to mail out this week, but they're finished objects, so I wanted to make sure I recorded a little video to share with you guys because I'm excited about these projects. In the last podcast, I had talked that I was about waiting for yarn to make a hat for my brother-in-law, and actually the day I recorded, that yarn did come, so I was very excited about that. So I knit Jason's cashmere hat. This is a free pattern on Ravelry, and many people have knit it. I think it's in the 9,000. So a very popular pattern. It's free. This would be a great introduction to cables. If you haven't done cables before, this was very straightforward, very easy. The one modification I did make was I cut out one of the cable round repeats. I thought it was maybe getting a little too long. I wasn't sure if my brother-in-law would wear a slouchy hat, so I wanted it to be more, a little bit more fitted. Oh, I see an end I still need to snip there. But I'm gonna try this on, and I actually really like this hat, so now I'm thinking, oh, maybe I should knit one for myself. But I think this turned out great. I absolutely love it. And this was my first time knitting this pattern. I don't really know why I haven't knit it before, but it's a great pattern. I don't know if I said the yarn that I used. This was a Lion Brand Heartland in the Black Canyon colorway. And I have used this before to make just a plain like stockinette, excuse me, stockinette beanie for my son Aaron, and really enjoyed using the yarn. And so I thought I would, you know, purchase this yarn again to make this hat. So I could not be happier with how this turned out. And then the second one I want to share, I did post this on Instagram. I think people got a kick out of this. Very fun, quick, silly project, quick-ish. It's crochet, but this is my finished crochet project that I'm sharing with you. This pattern is called Triangle Uglee by, let's see, Chrisco. Again, it's a free pattern on Ravelry. When I visited my son Ryan in Waco, he had said something like it'd be cool if I could crochet him something like a one-eyed thing. I'm not exactly sure this is what he had in mind, but when I was scrolling Ravelry and he saw this, he's like, oh, that would be really fun. So I thought I would crochet this up. Ryan's birthday is this week. I have his package ready to go, minus this guy. So I'm going to include this in his package, just something fun and silly. So it is crocheted in pieces, the body, 2 body parts, and then 2 arm parts, and then these curly Q corkscrews for the little crazy hair, and those are super fun. I had crocheted little corkscrews many years ago, actually when I made a hat for my daughter when she was either in preschool or kindergarten. So it really made me think about that with those curly Q corkscrews. Very fun. The yarn I used was just very inexpensive, Red Heart Super Saver in the spring green colorway. So I had this yarn on hand because I had used it to make some of those crochet plants that I showed you in earlier episodes this fall, I think summer or fall. The pattern itself calls for you to use felt for the eye and felt for the tongue. Well, I was kind of comfortable at home this weekend, and I did not have any felt on hand. So I just decided to crochet a circle for the eye. So you can actually use the beginning of the hand part for the eye if you'd like. I think that worked out fine. I did a little bit of modification. So I did that, and then I'm like, well, what in the world am I gonna do for a tongue? So I probably did one of the weirdest Google searches I've ever searched for, how to crochet a tongue. Jeff laughed when I told him that. He says, that's definitely weird. But I figured, you know, lots of people crochet animals, and so maybe there's something out there for a tongue. And indeed, there was a YouTube tutorial on how to crochet a tongue. And so the first time I tried it, it turned out too big. So I think I omitted the last round of the tongue and just kept with like the first, maybe first 2 rounds instead of 3 rounds. So I think that tongue turned out very cute. I did attach these, I did sew these on, and then I just, you know, stitched that quirky little mouth on there. But he's really kind of fun and cute. He definitely makes me giggle. Well, Jeff and I were both just laughing our heads off yesterday when I finished this. So, super fun project. It reminded me of a crochet toy that my mother-in-law had made for our son Aaron when he was a baby. And it was something called Geometric Baby, and it was a red it was a red rectangle, and it had little fun yarn little hair sticking up, and you know, we just called that Geometric Baby, and we had so much fun tossing that around and playing with that with Aaron. So, you know, this is Triangle Ugly, and this designer has other shape patterns also on Ravelry. So these could be really fun, and you could definitely do 2 eyeballs, and she gives different ideas for doing teeth or, you know, eye shaped. So lots you could do with this, but I just thought this was super fun. So those are 2 finished objects. This guy is going out in the mail today. He will be on his way to Waco, Texas. So I will see you in a later part of the video. Okay, bye guys. All right, so I hope you enjoyed seeing those Christmas gifts that I made. One note on that hat, I got that sent out in the mail right away, a big package to Canada to get to my husband's brother's family lives up in Burlington, Ontario. And I was so excited, so happy that I got it out in the mail, and it got returned to us on December 23rd. So we had to reship it again, some postal problems. So hopefully we've got that all worked out now. And so that hat is on its 2nd journey up to Canada. So hopefully once my brother-in-law gets that hat, he will really like it. My son did receive his crocheted triangle guy, and he really, really likes it. And also his other roommates think that's really fun. So one other Christmas gift, which has already been gifted, but my son Ryan, who lives in Texas, he was able to come up for Christmas, and he really likes the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I was able to crochet a tiny little Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. So I'm going to insert a picture here. Let me see what it is called. I thought I wrote this down somewhere, but perhaps I did not. Oh yes, here we go. Sorry. Okay, so turtle. Ninja Turtle Amigurumi by Amy Amore, and I used Red Heart yarn, except for the little band, which I know shows a little more brownish in the picture, but it's actually a Malabrigo orange, or a Metallintosh orange, just leftover scrap that I had, which was perfect for the little bandana. And the pattern called for you to cut little black eyes out of felt, but I actually had little safety eyes, so I used those instead. So that was a fun little stocking stuffer to put in Ryan's stocking, and he certainly got a kick out of it. And our cat Reese's definitely got a kick out of that. That little thing was going all over our house until I grabbed it and put it away so it didn't get destroyed before Ryan headed home. So that's it for Christmas gift finishes. Let's see, some other finished objects. I have 2 pairs of socks, both Christmas themed yarn. So these are, let's see, let me think here. This is Night Owl Fibers in the March Family Christmas. So that is a Little Women reference. I had purchased this yarn in 2023. No, purchased this yarn in 2022 and knew that I wanted to knit it up during the holiday season of 2023. So I'm really excited that I got those finished. I added a contrasting heel, but I do not remember the yarn dyer for that one, but I do know it's a nylon wool blend for that. So I really love how those socks turned out. And then when I saw Night Owl Fibers Christmas colorway for 2023, back when she posted it, I think in July, I really, really loved it, but I didn't jump on it. And then the period to order it closed. But then she mentioned in another podcast that, you know, she had some at other yarn shops who she wholesales with. And so I was able to snag a skein of Night Owl Fibers Christmas 2023 colorway, which I absolutely adore. And so here are the socks. They just scream Christmas to me. Gingerbread, cookies, peppermint, sugar cookies. I mean, just all things Christmassy. I couldn't be happier with these socks. The contrasting heel and toes, I think this is by Carla Knits on Etsy, and it was from a strawberry shortcake mini skein set. So I think it really did turn out cute, a cute pop of color with those socks. So very, very happy to have those done. I was not sure that I would get 2 pairs of Christmas socks done, but I'm really, really happy that I did, because I wanted to knit up both of those skeins of yarn so very much. So really, really happy to have those added into my holiday sock drawer. I should have a separate drawer for holiday socks. I definitely should, but into my sock drawer. Very happy with that. Just a small project that I worked on in the month of December. I made some scrappy crochet granny square Christmas trees. And so this pattern is by, it looks like cherry. It's cherry or sherry green slade. And I used leftover DK weight yarn for some, and for others I used fingering weight held double to make these little trees. And so I have a few left. I used a couple of them as like gift tags on people's gifts. But I thought, yeah, those were really pretty. So fun to work up. So a really fun way to use your scraps. Yeah, it was just super fun one evening just to start making a bunch of these little Christmas trees. Also in the month of December, with my Advent swaps that I got, I hosted a 12 mini skeins of Christmas mini skein swap. And so I had 2 swap partners, and with those partners, we swapped mini skeins. And with those mini skeins, I made crochet granny squares using Nitty Natty's Scrappy Granny pattern on Ravelry. And so I'm not going to show you each of the squares, but I am going to insert a picture. I think I have 25 of them completed. Those were the minis that came between 2 people. And so I have 25 granny squares. This was a really fun and manageable project for the month of December. Very low stress, very enjoyable. So that, along with my Christmas socks, those were mainly my focus, except for those couple of other Christmas gift items that I've shared. So eventually I hope to have enough granny squares, to put together into a blanket, but for now it's just going to be an ongoing project, either with Advent minis, or I may use some. I have plenty of leftover fingering weight yarn, so I may make some with leftovers I have too. So those are some of my finishes. that I have since I talked to you last. Now we will go into some works in progress. So the first one I have, let's see, I'm just trying to find everything here. The first I have is my Betangled Shawlette. This is a pattern by Jennifer Wiseman. Before I take it out, I've got to get better about sharing bags. This cute Alice in Wonderland bag by Speckled Red on Etsy. And here is the Betangled Shawlette. And where the marker is where I was when I showed it to you last. So I have made some really good progress. So I'm into the short row portion of the pattern, which is really easy. It's going pretty well. This was a pattern that I was gifted from one of my in-person knitting friends, Lois, and she already finished hers, but I am behind, but I am steadily making some progress on this. So this is one of the whips that I'm carrying over from 2023 that I hope to finish this winter time. So I'm not going to put this month, but I'm going to say this winter time I would like to finish that off. The yarn that I'm using for that is Rowan Felted Tweed in the French Mustard colorway. And I just love the big chunky cables. I don't necessarily like executing the big chunky cables. It is a 12 over 12 stitch cable, which if you've cabled before, you know that's a lot. But I really do love how it is turning out. So I would like to keep making some steady progress on that. I have a Christmas Eve cast on. Did any of you guys do a Christmas Eve cast on in December? My lovely friend Susan of Delightful Works, who sells her beautiful project bags on Etsy, sent me this beautiful project bag as a gift. I absolutely love this. It is so pretty, and it is the perfect size for sock knitting or hat or a small project. So I decided this would be my Christmas Eve cast on bag. And I decided to cast on a pair of socks, and I actually have one of the socks done, although the ends are not woven in, but I will put it on the sock blocker here. This is a DK weight sock. I just thought that would be manageable to do a DK weight sock. So this is Freckled Whimsies yarn in the Peppermint Mocha colorway. This is a colorway I've had for, I don't know, maybe, well over a year. I don't know if it was 2 years, but it's been in my stash for a while. It's definitely been one I've wanted to knit up at Christmas time. So this was a super fun cast on for Christmas Eve. The contrast colorway for the heel is by Bad Sheep Yarn in a French name that I can't pronounce, so I won't even try, but just little contrasting heel there. And yeah, these are just so super fun. I mean, you see chocolate, you see peppermint. Again, this yarn just screams Christmas to me too. So DK weight, I used the DK Vanilla Sock Pattern by Kay Litton of the Crazy Sock Lady. That's what I use for most of my DK weight socks. And then I just have a barely started cuff, and I'm even in the middle of a row, which is pretty pathetic. But I'm just like 3 or 4 rounds, probably 3 rounds into the ribbing of the second sock. So I'm in no hurry to get those done, but I think that is going to be my knitting at the library when I go to my knitting group on Tuesdays. I think that'll be a fun project to just have to work on there. So that is the only sock that I currently have on the needles. The other two projects that I'm going to share are projects that have gotten the most attention. So the first is a baby blanket. My youngest brother, David, is expecting his 4th child sometime in January, towards the end of January, and I'm very close to being done with this. The pattern I used was Warm Welcome Baby Blanket by Jess Copham. And I'm going to insert a picture here. The original blanket is shown using 6 colors, but I am only doing it in 4, and I calculated how many rows I would need to do in the 4 colors. And so this is what I have so far. So I'm actually on my 4th color. The yarn, this is a crochet project, I should say. I am using DK weight yarn. This is Premier Yarn's Basic DK. It's an acrylic yarn, so washable, which is great for parents of little ones. The colorway Aqua, white. This blue is powder blue, and then the gray is frost. So each color section has 18 colors. 2, 4, and I'm on the 10th row of the frost, the gray color. And so I hope to finish this blanket this weekend. Weave in ends. There's not a whole lot to weave in, but weave in ends, you know, give it a fresh wash, and then it will be ready to be mailed out later this month. So that has gotten a lot of love. I will say the yarn for this is part of a blanket kit that I bought. I want to say Hirschner's, but it could have been Mary Maxim, and it was a blanket kit that had these colors, and it also had peaches and pinks in there too. But when I found out they were having a boy, I decided, you know, I was strictly going to go with these colors. So not that those other colors couldn't be used, but I wanted to do something simpler, because the other blanket would have taken me a whole lot longer. So this has worked up really quick. It's mainly been crocheted. Like when we watch a movie, I can get a lot of one color done. And so we've had some opportunities to watch some movies at night. And so it's been really fun working on this project. So like I said, I hope to continue this weekend and get some good work done on that. My last active work in progress, I'm just getting kind of full up here. Okay. I haven't been showing all my bags. I should show my other bag. So that blanket is living in this adorable bag it's Lizzie Saxt on Instagram. She is one of the ladies in the Pearled in Texas podcast, and she has a Etsy shop where she sells beautiful project bags that she sews, and she hand paints animals, and she hand paints, you know, lots of beautiful things. She is so talented. So I love this bag, and I thought, you know, a sweet little sheep was good for a sweet little baby blanket. So my last project to share with you, my last whip, is in this fun Advent countdown bag that I purchased in 2022 from Barley Pearls on Etsy. I absolutely love the fabric. And I am using this for a mystery cowl. So this is by Darcy of Chit Chat Knits, and she is hosting, it's through today, she is hosting a, let's see, 12 Days of Christmas mystery cowl in her Ravelry group. So a mystery cowl make along, knit along in her Ravelry group. So starting on December 25th through today, January 5th, she has been posting one clue each day to make this beautiful cowl. And I will tell you, if you don't want to see it, if you don't want to be spoiled yet, although by the time this goes up, it's going to be probably over. But just in case you're working on it and don't want to see the finish, I will tell you. But it calls for mini skeins or leftover fingering weight scraps. So it's great if you have if you got an advent calendar with 20-gram minis and you have some left over from a project that you worked on. Each of the sections requires about 10 grams of fingering weight yarn, and then there is a 50-gram neutral skein or something to use between those mini skeins. I'm not saying that very well. But anyway, I'm going to share this now. So this was not from an advent calendar, my yarns. These were just leftover yarns from various projects that I have made throughout the last several years. So I am showing it now. I am on day 12, so I am at the very top or the very end of this project. So here we go. This is the mini skein cowl by Darcy of Chit Chat Knits. And I went with the pinks and blues, aquas, purples, and it was so fun just to pull these yarns from stash and just try to make, you know, some kind of cohesive or fun scrappy cowl that kind of looks like it goes together. For my contrasting color, I just used a plain undyed white yarn. So, you know, it reminds me of winter, but kind of a candy striped winter scene. Fun colors, bright for winter, especially when January and February are so, you know, gloomy outside. I thought this would be a really fun pop of color. She uses many different stitch patterns in the different stripes. Some do repeat, but these were very manageable chunks to do. So I was able to keep up on it each day. So you did a color and a white section each day. So I am on the 12th part, which is a ribbing for the neckline. So I plan to finish that today. And then I have not woven in ends as I've gone along. So I will have quite a few ends to weave in. So you might think that this looks really small at the top and much bigger at the bottom, and that is true. And I think this is absolutely genius on Darcy's part. So many cowls are just straight up and down, and you know, you hold them up to see the pattern and then they just crumple down, and sometimes they just don't lay as nicely as they could. When Darcy has designed some of her cowls, she has wider at the bottom and then it goes up smaller at the top. So you'll see the top, and then the rest just cascades down nicely. And so it shouldn't flop over as much at the top. So I really do think that is genius. So I have absolutely loved this project. So the pattern is specifically in her Ravelry group. If you look up Chit Chat Knits on Ravelry, and it's the 12 Days of Christmas Mystery Cowl. So really excited about that. All right. Well, I would like to share some acquisitions with you since I've seen you last. I think I said last time that it seems like towards the end of the year, I always tend to kind of gather new yarns. And so I definitely have gathered some. I think I will start with some of the Advent yarns. I did purchase an Advent calendar, and I got Suburban Stitchers Advent calendar, which was a pink fade. And hopefully you can see this okay. So day 1 is here going through day 25. So these yarns are beautiful. I have not decided what to make with these. A pattern was included with this mini calendar. It was the Grand Opening Shawl. I've got some hair in here. Grand Opening Shawl by Telly Bean Knits, which I've seen some of the finished shawls and they look absolutely beautiful. But it looks like a big big project right now, which I'm not quite ready to to tackle anything with all of these yarns. So I think until I decide what I want to do with those, I'm just going to put them in a bag and put them somewhere until I decide how I want to use these beautiful, beautiful pink yarns. I shared that I got a, you know, my swap. I swapped with 2 people, so I want to share a couple things I got from them. First off, besides the mini skeins, some final skein, big skein of yarn. So from my one swap partner, Teresa, who is Knitting Dancer, she gifted me this beautiful yellow yarn. This is by Whimsy Stitches Yarn Company, who dyes yarn in New Orleans. And this is, excuse me, so DK weight yarn, and it is a sock yarn, 75 superwash merino, 25 nylon. And so I know that the kitchen sink shop has a pattern called, I think, Sunshine on My Feet socks. So when I saw this skein of yarn, I immediately thought of that pattern. So that may very well become a beautiful pair of DK weight socks. Also, a beautiful gift I have to share that she gave me was this beautiful, beautiful mug with that sweet sheep on there. So this is a beautiful piece of pottery. And I just think that is so lovely. So thank you again, Teresa, for being my swap partner and for all of the lovely gifts. My other swap partner was Rosie, and that's Rosalba B on Ravelry. And the final day skein was this beautiful sock set. This is by CC Fiber and Design, which, let's see, she's on Etsy. I was not familiar with this dyer. So the colorway is Unicornia. That's a great name. And it is a sock blend. So again, the 75-25 blend. And she also included this beautiful powdery blue skein of Aloft by Knit Picks. So that's going to be a, you know, lace weight. I'm trying to see the content of that. I think it's a mohair. Yeah, it's a kid mohair and silk. So at first, you know, I thought, okay, socks, but then I was thinking, oh, this would be a really pretty hat. And I don't know if I would use the pink with it or somehow put a pop of pink in it, but use these held together. But that is just beautiful, beautiful. So I need to think on that, exactly what I want to do. And then Rosie so kindly, I was so touched, knit me a beautiful pair of fingerless mitts. So aren't these lovely? Oh, I was so moved, Rosie. This meant so much. So these beautiful mitts, the pattern name is Lacy, and it is, I believe, a free pattern on Ravelry, and it's in my favorites. I think this would be a great one to make. I believe she used Knit Picks palette. Gorgeous, gorgeous colors. Absolutely love them. I know Rosie likes her purples, so this is kind of a purpley pink color, so I absolutely adore these too. And I haven't worn them yet, Rosie, because I wanted to keep them nice so I could show them on the podcast, but now I am going to be using them. So thank you both to Rosie and to Teresa for being my swap partner for the 12 Skeins of Christmas Swap 2023. All right, let's see. Some Christmas gifts that I received. I will share this sweet picture that my mom gifted me. A little knitted sweater with Santa on it. I opened this and thought this was just the most precious thing. I love the color green. I love that it's a little knit sweater. So this is just so special. I absolutely love this Christmas decoration. Isn't that fun? And she got it at an antique / gift store in Michigan. But I love that. And then my daughter-in-law and son-in-law got me this sign. It's not hoarding if it's yarn. So I had to giggle when I opened that. So I have to find a spot in this room after I clean it. I keep saying I need to clean it. So I need to find a spot to hang that. Our knitting group, we had a couple of gifts from our knitting group, my local knitting group. So my friend Lois gifted us each a hot pad. So it's double thick, and this is Tunisian crochet, and it's absolutely beautiful. So Lois, it was used on our coffee table on Christmas Eve when we had goodies after church and watched a movie. And it's also been used under a candy dish holding some candy after Christmas. So I absolutely love that. And then my friend Joanne, who used to own a yarn store, gifted us some yarn. So this beautiful Carla color. This is Riley by Haiku in the Power Pink colorway. Isn't that beautiful? This is, I think this is a DK or sport weight. It has 274 yards for 100 grams. It is 50% alpaca, 25% mulberry silk, and 25% linen. And I have used this yarn in the past, and I knit a shawl or shawlette for my mom. So Mom, maybe you recognize this yarn if you're watching. Hi. But absolutely beautiful. So I was actually thinking after seeing Rosie's mitts that maybe a fun pair of fingerless mitts in this color would be really, really nice. Yeah. And with 274 yards, I mean, I'm sure I could get either really long fingerless mitts or maybe a couple pair. So that was from my knitting group. From Jeff, we just exchanged some small gifts this year, but he knows how much I love to read and I like reading about knitting fiction. So this contains stories by 3 different authors, Debbie Maycomer, Susan Mallory, and Christina Sky. It's called The Knitting Diaries. So the one by Debbie Maycomer is from the shop on Blossom Street. So that is one of her series that started, focused around a knitting store in the beginning. And so I know I have read that one, but the other 2 are unfamiliar to me. So I'm really excited to read those. And then this is a new murder, knitting murder mystery. So these are very, very tame. So I was not familiar with these. The author is Allie Pleiter. And you gotta love the titles. On Skein of Death, Knit or Die Trying, and then I think this is my favorite title. It Came Upon a Midnight Shear. So, this is just going to be some really light, fun, fluff reading, but I really do enjoy these books, and my bookshelf is pretty full of lots of these just really whimsical, fun, lighthearted. I know murder isn't a lighthearted topic, but these are really fun books to read. So when I get into those, I will try to report back on that. And then I don't know how well these are going to be seen, but this a whole bunch, I don't even know how many there are, of little kitty cat stitch markers in all different colors. So there's a little pink one there. Yeah, so it's hard to show those, but those were from Jeff too. So gosh, he did good. He did good. My family and friends know me well, so I am very blessed. Some yarny purchases that I made. I put in an order with Ruby and Roses for some of her Christmas yarn this year. Well, one is not a Christmas yarn. I take that back. One is and one isn't. They are both very similar looking. This is a sock base. This is her soft rose sock base. So soft. 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. And it's the color Sail Away, which if you followed us for a while, you know Jeff and I love sailing in the summer. So I thought that was really fun. But I just loved those the light color with all those beautiful fun speckles. And then in a similar vein, very, very similar, but this is a DK weight. So this is Rose DK, and this is in the Mistletoe Mixer colorway. So isn't that fun? So this will eventually be a hat. But yeah, I'm excited. I have this, I'm trying to think. I do have another skein of Ruby and Roses in my stash, which I have not used, but it is really soft. So I am excited to try those. You're going to think I'm really crazy with all my whites with the speckled colors. But Teresa, Knitting Dancer, one of my swap partners, one of the minis that she gave me was Madeline Tosh in the Holly Days colorway. And so it has been, as far as I can tell, it has been renamed Umbrella Sky. And I just loved working with that when she gave it to me. And so I purchased this. This is Twist Light. So this is one of their sock bases. So 75% superwash merino wool, 25% nylon. And then also I got it in their Tosh DK weight. So that will be a hat eventually. So you can see I'm kind of on this light color with speckles. Yeah, that's what was speaking to me. So I don't know yet when these will be cast on, but excited to have those. Let's see. These came without a tag, but this is a seller on Etsy, and I will try to remember to put the name down below on the screen. So these are both a sock base, and I mean, this is a really skinny sock base. So, but I thought her colors, she's got lots of colorways in her shop that I thought were just beautiful. So eventually socks. And let's see, I saw this skein of yarn on the Feather Stitches podcast. They're two gals up in Canada, and one of them was working on, or had finished, I think finished or working on a pair of socks. So that's how it's supposed to knit up for her husband. This is Lang Yarns Twin Socks. It's a 75% virgin wool, 25% polyamide or nylon. So this fun striping, but big long color block sections of stripes. And I saw that on their podcast, and I thought, I want to make that for Jeff for Christmas this year now. So this will be cast on at some point in 2024 as a pair of socks for Jeff. And finally, I joined the Love and Stitches membership, which is by Knitty Natty, and she has a podcast, and there was a yarn set that was offered up in the membership group. So this is Love in Pretty Twisted Stitches. This is the Holiday 2023 colorway. So sock set with 100 gram skein, which looks just like gingerbread, doesn't it? Isn't that fun? And then these two gorgeous minis to go with it. And it has gold stellina in there, which I'm pretty sure the camera won't pick up, but the sparkle is just lovely. So I think that's probably going to get cast on next Christmas. I hope. We'll see. It seems crazy to already be thinking about next Christmas, but I don't know, maybe just coming off Christmas, you think, oh, what am I going to do next year? So I think that is all for my acquisitions, which is a lot. So now just time for a little bit of chatter. I probably will not have a lot this year. I say that in terms of stash acquisition. I am putting myself on a low buy yarn diet. So what does that mean for Carla? When I look at this, when I come in here and look at this yarn, I am at the point where it's starting to overwhelm me. You know, I'm not thinking, can I use it all in my lifetime? You know, I don't know, maybe not. But I have so many socks that I've already made. I have so many sweaters that I've already made. And I'm just thinking, I keep buying all of this beautiful yarn. And most of it, I mean, a majority of my stash is you know, beautiful indie dyed sock yarn, which I absolutely love. But there are always more beautiful things that I see. I am definitely guilty of scrolling on Instagram and seeing something beautiful and wanting to snap it up, and often snapping it up. Or I like to scroll on Etsy for hand-dyed yarn, or for people who are destashing hand-dyed yarn. But every time I bring something into the stash, you know, it slowly, I mean, it weighs on me, because I realize I'm putting more in to my stash than I am producing. And I am very happy with the projects that I have made, and the amount of knitting and crochet time that I have, and the things that I have been able, you know, to make throughout the years. No problem there. I am not a fast knitter or crocheter, but I think I do produce a lot, and it's because I spend a lot of time on knitting and crocheting. I mean, that's absolutely my favorite thing to do. But it is so much easier to buy yarn and add yarn to the stash. So I cannot keep going. It is just, it has come to the point where it's overwhelming me. So what am I going to do? I have unsubscribed on my email from many of the indie dyers that I have received emails from, that I signed up for. So, and I've also done this with some clothing companies, other things that I get tempted with. So I have unsubscribed from those. That's not to say that I will always be unsubscribed, but for right now, when I want to do this, it would be better to limit the temptation. I am going to try to not scroll Etsy, not look at Etsy as much, which is hard, but I think I can do that. And Instagram, be very, very careful of that. So my plan is not to buy any yarn online. So I am saying that here, it's out in the YouTube world. So not to buy any yarn online. I'm not saying no buy of yarn. So I am saying low buy, because I want to have the ability to treat myself. Should my knitting group get to go yarn shopping, I want to say, okay, let's make some mindful decisions, and yes, you can treat yourself. If I go on vacation, you know, to someplace different and want to go to a local yarn store there and treat myself to a skein of yarn, okay, I'm going to do that. But I don't need to keep buying from Etsy and from Instagram. You know, there is always going to be beautiful yarn out there. I have beautiful yarn here, and so I really want to make a conscious effort to work through that. So having said that, I have 3 Make 9 boards that I posted on Instagram, and all of those are with the intent of using yarn in my stash. There is only, well, I have a Make 9 board that is whips. I have a Make 9 board of new projects, and I have a Make 9 board of just socks, because you know I knit socks and I love knitting socks. So over the next few weeks, I'm going to make a video highlighting each of those boards and showing you, well, for whips, the projects that I currently have that I am going to work on. Maybe not finish, but put some work into this year. With the new projects that I want to make, I will share the patterns and the yarns, and then the same for the socks. I will share what sock patterns I would like to make and what yarns I am thinking about using with those. Other than that, just I hope you guys all had a good December and a good Christmas and New Year. Our son Ryan was able to come home from Texas the day after Christmas, so it was great having him here. We did get to spend time with our son Aaron and his wife Kelsey and our daughter Jenna. And Jenna is actually, she doesn't go back to school until later in January, so she is still at home right now. So it's definitely been a blessing, having her in the house with us. I have been off since mid-December, and this is the final weekend, and I start back to work on January 8th. I would like to try to get back into a more regular podcasting schedule if I can. These next 3 videos that I talked about with the Make 9 boards are going to be shorter, maybe shorter, and then after that probably into regular podcast form. December was hard. I will just say that December was hard. We had a number of concerts. I played for church two weekends, and that's 3 services each weekend. All of the other stuff on top of your regular stuff. So there was still work. And then, since most of our extended family lives away, there was a lot of shopping, packing, wrapping, getting off to the post office. So that took a good chunk of time. Lots of baking. I think we made 8 or 9 varieties of cookies, and Jeff and Jenna both help. We do it all together, but it's still a big project in this month. And I haven't shared this, but there is a family member of ours that has been really sick since November, and that definitely has been weighing on my mind and on Jeff's mind. So if you would include this person in your prayers, so it's just someone close to us who has been experiencing some really bad sickness, and they don't really know what's going on. So if you pray, I would certainly appreciate your prayers for that. But just a mix of all of those things just made December really, really hectic for us. And so I think I'm in a better place now to start podcasting again. I think, things are calming down, or at least they are until I start work on Monday, and then it'll just be getting back into a regular routine. But it's going to be good to get back into that routine. It's always hard remembering what day of the week it is. Usually between Christmas and New Year, but even this week, because we're not back at work, it's still like, okay, what day is it? But I think I have chatted at you guys long enough. If you had stayed here for this very chatty episode, thank you so much. I would love it if you would give this video a thumbs up. I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel. I know one more thing. I'm sorry, guys. I am not going to be hosting any make-alongs currently in the Carla Knits Ravelry group. I am going to be taking a break from that, at least for the first several months of the year. That is just one thing that I'm going to take a step back from, is hosting those knit-alongs. However, I have opened a general chatter thread in that Ravelry group. If you would love, or if you would like to share what you're working on, share beautiful yarns that you're using from your stash or that you purchase, chat with other yarny friends, I would love it if we could keep this conversation going in the group, even though we're not having a specific make-along at this time. So I think that is it for today, and I hope to be back really soon with one of the videos for one of my Make 9 boards. So happy New Year to you all, and happy knitting and crocheting. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.